What's going on, guys? I'm Jaye Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about this very sad story I came across last night. And I wanted to really think before I did this commentary on this young lady from Bridgeport, Connecticut, who met a older white man, as the article says, and she ended up losing her life under very suspicious circumstances, and the police will not investigate it. They said that the guy was a quote-unquote nice guy, and he is not to be investigated. Now, I want to say this before I say any of my commentary. I want justice for this young lady. I don't think she should have lost her life. I think that the mother and the family deserve answers. And I'm hopeful that this video does that because I have reach. Okay, when I make videos about certain things, I am able to reach people. You know why I know? Because they get in contact with me, especially when I do particular topics similar to this. So hopefully my video will have others making videos or posting about it on social media. And this is a cause that needs to be fought because according to the family, the police are being very arrogant towards them, standoffish. And I will also say this too about this young lady, because this needs to be said. We cannot have this discussion without speaking about this. She invited a guy to her home that I'm assuming she had never met before, that she met off the Bumble dating app. A guy she didn't know that well. A guy who was described as an older white man. You got to ask yourself the question, why was she so comfortable inviting the stranger into her home? I have said this about other topics about people meeting people online or offline. You need to meet them first in a public place. If you're going to meet people offline, don't ever bring them to your house. We've seen with the Mercedes Mars situation. The guy went from Florida to Texas to see her. She lives in a gated community. She allowed that person into her home. You know why? Because he was funding her lifestyle. That could be the case with this young lady. If you go to her Instagram page, and by the way, her name is Lauren Smith Fields. If you go to her social media, she travels a bit. You know, she's a bit of a aspiring Instagram model. And this could have been a situation of him being her sugar daddy. We don't know. Okay? We don't know. But we're going to get into this article because nobody's speaking about this, by the way. I've only found one article on this so far. Bridgeport family left with unanswered questions following the untimely demise of daughter. A Bridgeport family says they are not getting the answers that they want from the police after their 23-year-old daughter was found deceased inside her apartment. Lauren Smith Fields was found unresponsive inside her Plymouth Street apartment on December 12th and later passed. Smith Fields family says their daughter was a track star at Stanford High School who was currently enrolled at Norwalk Community College for cosmetology. They say the hardworking young woman had her own side business to fund her education. Yeah, I'm sure she did. The medical examiner has not released the cause of her death, and investigators are not commenting. Without a doubt, we know that my daughter was not a drug user, and I had a second autopsy myself paid out of my pocket because we felt so uncomfortable with the way it was handled, said Everett. Family says Smith Fields met an older white man on Bumble, and it was he who alerted police to her death. So that's where the questions come into play. First off, how did he have access to her apartment? She'd have to allow him in unless he had a key. Did he have a key to her apartment? The only way he would have known anything was up is if they've been communicating, he's been to her apartment before, he has a spare key, or she allowed him in there. Because what it seems like the police is theorizing is that he had access to her home, he got there, and he found her unresponsive. But if he has, because the guy could be making the whole thing up. Because that's what it seemed like they're going at. They're basically trying to say, well, maybe he had access to her apartment, or maybe, the only way he could have gotten in there is she let him in there. Now, I don't know if this guy is connected in Bridgeport, but the fact that this guy could be a retired police officer, because we know police officers will look after each other in certain situations. I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but it's odd that it seemed like the police are lackadaisical on this. Lakeem Jeter, her brother, says he asked authorities about the man, but was told he was a nice guy with no need to be investigated. That's crazy to me. Smithfield's father says the only contact they've had with the police is a very insensitive, condescending, and arrogant detective. Well, that seems like some of these police departments, or most of them. You got these detectives who are very arrogant. Then they wonder why people view police the way they view police. I think police have built their own reputation, and that's why people don't trust them, because of their attitudes. If a family is seeking answers, you should try your best to help them out, because their daughter is no longer here. So you're responsible for this. But it gets better. Congresswoman Maria Pereira says police owe Smithfield's mom an apology. That's all they owe her? Congresswoman, why don't you and some of your colleagues get on social media and start to speak on this, or do interviews in the media and say, hey, we all want answers. She sent a really well-written email. It was lengthy, it was extensive, it was very detailed, and I was shocked when she told me just yesterday she had not even received a response, said Pereira. What the hell is an email gonna do? Why don't y'all do what you mostly do and get online and complain about it? Because that's where it seems like the most noise is made, is when you go on social media. What is an email gonna do? What is an email gonna do? It's clear that the police are taking his side because they have no respect for this female and her family. That's what it seemed like me. I don't know if her family is well known to police, and that's why, because that could be what it is. Because sometimes these police officers will have a certain viewpoint of people. Not all, but if they have a viewpoint of your family or people you're connected to, they will act a certain type of way. And I don't know what this congresswoman thinks an email gonna do. A tweet would do a whole lot more damage than an email would. But I don't, The city of Bridgeport issued a statement about the investigation, saying the Bridgeport Police Department takes these concerns very seriously. The command staff of the Detective Bureau is reviewing the handling of this case to ensure the best practices were and are being followed. It is imperative to note that the death of Lawrence Smith Fields remains an ongoing investigation. Our department extends its deepest condolences to the family of Lauren. Now, again, let me just say this. I know people might bring this up. The police have a job to do. I understand that. I understand that the police have a job to do. I'm not here to tell the police how to do their job. But if the family is saying that you're acting a certain way towards them, that don't sit well with me. Because you can tell the family, you can sit down and speak to the family and say, listen, we understand that you're hurting. We know what you're going through, but you gotta let us do our job. And we're gonna make sure that you know everything that's going on. Okay? We're gonna work with you to make sure that we bring answers to you and the family. Unfortunately, that's not what these detectives are doing. I don't know if they have a big caseload and they feel like this is just, this is not as important as some of their other ones. But sometimes you need to reassure the family, because that's all they're looking for, because there's really nothing that they can do about the fact that they lost Lauren. But it's up to you to do your job correctly, so to where you don't have to release statements saying that we're doing our job. Well, hopefully, for the family's sake, they find out what happens. I think this guy is very deeply involved, because if she wouldn't have met him off Bumble, she'd probably still be here. And I think that, again, we have to be careful about the people that we interact with off social media. You met this man on Bumble. Why would you bring this man to your house? Just like with the Mercedes Marshall situation, but that was different because I guess he was giving her money. It could be the same thing with this guy. And you got to ask yourself, why was she so comfortable having this man in her home? Why are you so, why? Because he's an older Caucasian man? Just because a guy is older and white does not mean he's safe to be around. I just wish a lot of these women, especially a lot of these melanated women, would understand this. Just because somebody is non-black and a little bit older does not mean they're going to be safe to be around. I say everybody, but people of all different groups are capable of doing horrible things. And we have to be careful of anybody. And you can't let your guard down. And it seemed like she let her guard down. And I think this guy very much so could be responsible for it. I can't 100% say for sure, because it's still alleged. They don't feel like he's involved. But again, that could always change if people do their jobs. But again, a lot of these women got to be careful of who they bring into their home. Just like the guy that got robbed in Arizona. Got to be careful of who you bring around in your home, because you don't know what a person's intentions are. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see y'all in the next one.